Hi everyone! Thank you so much for clicking to watch this video. If you are new here, my name is Sandy and on this channel we talk about pursuing a career in interior design and I give you home decor tips. Today's video is on the career side of things because I'm here to tell you why I dropped out of interior design school. In today's video, I'm going to be going over why I left school, what I'm doing now, what is my day job, what I did after leaving school to continue self-learning and to continue gaining experience in the interior design field, and whether or not I believe you need interior design school to successfully become an interior designer. This video comes as a pretty big shock to me that I'm even making it. I didn't even really sit down with the intention of making this today, but it felt important to get it out to strangers on the internet, apparently, and start fresh with my channel. Not that the content will change significantly, but you probably will start seeing a lot more like home decor, more makeover kind of stuff versus school stuff because I'm not in school anymore. So then I want to be able to teach you guys things that I have experienced and that I've learned for myself. I won't be making videos like, oh, you're third year in school, you're fourth year in school, because I won't be doing this. So going into why I left school, main reason, it was too expensive. It was very, very costly. So in my very first video that I put on YouTube, I put out 4 things you should know before going into interior design school. And one of those things was that people go into design from a different career path. I'm one of those people. I went to Florida State University and I got a degree in public relations. And I used grants and loan money to acquire that degree. What happens when you do that is there's a certain pot. I don't know if it's like this at like all states and for all schools in different countries, but between Florida and Georgia, because I'm now in Atlanta, I moved to Atlanta and I started going to the Art Institute of Atlanta. And what happens is federally you get a certain pot of money for your undergraduate degree that you can pull from. And then if you choose to get a graduate degree, there's like a different pot of money. That's how this was explained to me in financial aid. I had already almost depleted my undergraduate pot of money as far as loans go because I had a bachelor's degree. And when I went into interior design school, I was acquiring another bachelor's degree. I was not getting a master's. And the reason I did that was because a lot of the prerequisites to go and get a master's in design, at least here in the state of Georgia, for the schools that I was looking at, I didn't have the prerequisites. It required a lot of technical things that just didn't overlap with my communications degree, so I really had to start over. At the time I started going to school, I didn't know this, the information that I just divulged with you about these like separate pots of money. So I started going to school, I was getting that there was a grant that the school gives you, and then I was getting some loan money. I was like, okay, great. I'm gonna be in debt like everybody else, blah, blah, blah. This is what I really wanna do, my heart's in it. And I get called into the financial aid office. They're like, hey, this is the trajectory for this semester. So at this point, I started school in 2017, I left school in 2018, but I had about 2 years of credits under my belt because I came in with credits. I didn't have enough to go into the master's program, but I did have enough to not take all the general education classes that you normally would take when you start a bachelor's degree. So like writing and communication and public speaking, math, like those kinds of things. I already had all those credits, so I didn't have to take them again. And to finish out the year in 2018, they were like, well, you're gonna have to start paying this. And the interior design degrees are pretty expensive, especially if you're going to a specific art school like I was. It was around, I wanna say around like $86,000 at the time for a 4-year degree, which is like crazy. And when I went to Florida State and got my degree in communications, my entire 4-year degree, I think was like in the 40-something thousands. So to have this other degree be like twice as much was absurd to me, just simply because it was a private school and I was out of state. So that wasn't fun. And I was just like looking at the financial aid person like, well, I ain't got it. I do not have it. Peace out. I'm gonna have to head out. And that was mostly devastating. Very, very, very hard to come to terms with because my entire plan when I moved was, okay, I'm gonna go to school, I'm gonna document it, I'm going to get these kinds of internships, I'm gonna work at a firm, and then I'm gonna start my own firm and blah, 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 blah. And school was the nucleus of that plan. It was like where all the other things I wanted to do was gonna branch off of. So to have it completely obliterated and just like not be a hope was, I mean, I said devastating already, but I almost feel like that doesn't even really encompass the word. I was just like so heartbroken. Dropping out was so just emotional and just not even just tumultuous like inside myself, it was tumultuous with family. My father is a very big proponent for continuing my education. And he was like, well, if the school isn't gonna give you money, you should take out a personal loan. Or he was considering taking out a loan to give me money to go to school. And I was like, Dad, do not do that, absolutely not. And I also was not going to take out a personal loan to go to school. I made the decision that this just wasn't for me right now, and I needed to find an alternative path for myself to continue getting the things that I wanted. It was like, okay, I say I want this and I want to be in this industry. Now I've hit this pretty big block in the road, this pretty big challenge. How do I get over this mountain? When I realized that, okay, I'm leaving school, this is a decision that I've made, I was also considering maybe the channel isn't something that I want to do anymore. Maybe this YouTube path isn't something I want to do anymore, because the basis of my channel was education. I would learn from school and then I would tell you guys what I learned. I'd come on here and be like, oh, we did this. This is what the professors are saying, yada, yada, yada. These are the conventions we're going to, and these are the clubs that we're joining. So for those of you who want to go to school, that information is still there. It exists on the channel. It would happen during the time that I was in school. But now I view it more as an opportunity, because now I'm in this stage of self-teaching and continuing my education on my own. So for those of you who don't want to go to school, you don't have the time, you can't take time off from work, you have really busy schedules, or it could be too costly to go to school. Now I'm in this space with you guys, I'm in this boat. And I feel like I have half and half experience, right? So I'm like half school taught and now I'm continuing my education on my own. So I'm half self-taught. So as I learn more on my own in the industry, I definitely will try and use this platform as a way to share that information. Like, how do I get experience without having a degree? How do you get a job? How do you start a business? How do you get clients? Does not having a degree stop you? Do you need a degree? I really am excited now about the opportunity of sharing those things. But before, I was just kind of like sad and embarrassed and I couldn't go to school, blah, blah, blah. I was very mopey. I am now much less mopey than I was before. The first job I had after leaving school to continue my experience was working at an e-design company. I ended up working at Modsy. E-design companies are a great way to gain some experience because you definitely don't need a design degree to work at them. And you're getting a lot of like client experience, which is something you kind of don't get in school. They teach you all the theories and the general guidelines and rules, and you just kind of have to figure out how that fits you specifically when you start working with clients on your own, because that's a whole different experience. And when I worked at Modsy, I completed, I kid you not, because we used to have to keep a spreadsheet of all our designs, over like 400 designs. And I worked with them from 2017 to 2020. And oh my gosh, you guys, so much experience. I was floor planning tons of spaces, kids' rooms, offices, office guest room, open living, dining room, and just so many different layouts, experience with different styles, learning about different furniture, learning the gauge of furniture prices, how much these rooms cost. So does it take $15,000 to design a room? Does it take $25,000 to make a room look full? What can you do for $5,000? How do I communicate the design to the client? Because you had to then do a little write-up of, oh, okay, I chose these pieces because of this. We can swap them out for this. Or if someone had a piece that they wanted to keep, you had to then work around that design. So I got so much problem-solving experience, and I'm super thankful for having the opportunity to work there. So after leaving Modsy, I really wanted some more face-to-face experience, and I ended up applying at showrooms. So I've talked to you guys about showrooms before in my video about 6 jobs you can do with a design degree, and you don't need a degree to work the job because showrooms are sales jobs. I would check out that video. I'll pop it up here or link it down below so that you know so that you can know what a showroom is. Your main role in these showrooms is a salesperson. So you're trying to get, I don't know, $60,000 in sales that month, or $40,000 in sales that month, $100,000 in sales that month, depending on wherever showroom you're working at and how your items are priced. The biggest value of working at a showroom was Learning the design community. I get so many questions about, you guys are always like, how do you find out what's going on? How do I, get in touch with designers? How do I get my foot in the industry? Learn the community around you. Know who are the designers? What are their projects? Where do they shop? Like that, those things are super, super important. So while I was working at a showroom, I was on the business side. So we were a business selling to designers who also were a business. So this didn't include clients. A lot, not very many anyway. And I was meeting the designers in town like every day, tons and tons of designers. I was meeting them every day. Then if they shop with you often, you become the face that they're familiar with. And you become, I know I can call Sandy at this so-and-so showroom because I need X and X items, and I can just tell her what I need, and I'd pull out some samples and they'd be there for that person when they came in, and you become this trusted resource for them. So that is a really, really great way to look at showrooms. You just have to have really fun personality. You have to be kind of cheery and be able to become knowledgeable about the product. Because at the time, at the showrooms that I worked at, I didn't know anything about the items at that time. But I had a positive attitude about it. I'm a hard worker, and I was able to position that to get hired. So the third position I went into after leaving school was then being a design assistant. And design assistant jobs are a little finicky, especially if you don't have the technical design experience that they want. So a lot of design assistant jobs require a lot of 3D modeling. So you're doing SketchUp, Revit, CAD, and you're doing a lot of like floor plan things. And I didn't have the skill at the time because I happened to leave school right before it was time to learn all those classes. And that sucks for me, really unfortunate. So I'm looking through all these things on Indeed, Monster, LinkedIn, and I'm like, damn, I don't qualify for any of these because I don't have this particular skill that they're looking for. And that is actually something I want to make a whole video about. Let me know if you guys are interested. Skills that you can acquire without being in school that are very, very hireable and that you can start making money right away if you have these kind of technical software skills, because you don't necessarily need to have a degree to learn them. There's tons of courses online that you can learn from, and people will hire you to do these kinds of things. Even if you're not just their design assistant, they'll hire you specifically for like a rendering and visuals and yada, yada, yada. So if you guys are interested in that, please drop a comment below and let me know, and I can make a whole separate video on that. Moving on to how I got the design assistant job. So I'm looking online, I'm like, darn, I don't qualify for any of these. And there are people who are looking for design assistants. You really just have to like tap into the network that you've built. So they're looking for design assistants, but they're not posting them online, right? Because they're either designers who work out of their home and they're kind of just like a one-person shop, or they're designers who work with other freelancers, and they're really looking for people through their own word of mouth. I was really fortunate that while I was in school, I did make it a point to go to events, meet designers, meet people who worked at showrooms, meet people who were just in the industry in general, keep in touch with my professors. I did all of that. So I was able to learn through the grapevine that someone I had worked with before was looking for a design assistant. And I was like, oh, great. And I'd let her know what my capabilities were. I was like, hey, just so you know, I don't know like the SketchUp and Revit and CAD stuff. And she was like, I don't need that. I actually need someone for these things. And I was like, all right, awesome, great. So I went in, I worked with her for just about a year or two. And she was doing more site branding kind of things. Like she was trying to build her online presence as a designer, because she was actually already established designer, already had 10 years of experience and had done like celebrity homes and all that stuff. She just hadn't communicated all that experience online yet. And she needed a little bit of help doing that. So what I actually ended up doing, even though I was hired as her design assistant, my background is in communications and public relations. So I had a lot of experience working at PR firms and communications firms, working with graphic designers, working with web developers, and trying to communicate a client's story. And I ended up doing a lot of that for her, in addition to doing mood boards, going out and measuring things, getting samples, going to showrooms. I did that too as well, but I mainly ended up doing more like branding kind of stuff for her, which was fun. I did enjoy that because I learned that what I really, really like about design is the space where design meets content creation. So I'm able to communicative story to somebody. And that's where my talents kind of collide by two worlds of like communication and design. I really, really did like that. After being a design assistant, I actually worked with one of her colleagues and ended up going to transfer over at her startup to become a project coordinator at a firm. I wanted to do more design heavy things. So instead of like doing social and branding and website and some design, I wanted to do like straight just design. This was probably my most robust experience, and I did this for about 6 months. I was a project coordinator. This was an e-design company as well, but they did in person for people who were in the city of Atlanta. So if you were in town, they were coming to you, going to your home, measuring things, and it was more of like a traditional design experience. They also happen to offer these really, really cool custom 3D experiences where you could like walk through your design. Very, very, technologically advanced, good stuff. This firm was busy. They were very, very busy. They had so many clients coming in, lots of work coming in. And I got my feet wet in so many things that I wasn't aware of. So all the organizational side of having a firm, all the client communication, making sure you have email templates and how you communicate someone's design, how you communicate your services, making sure you send people their invoices, making sure that's paid, that they have the receipt, doing all the ordering for their home. So if they approve $15,000 in furniture or $25,000 in furniture, I was also the person ordering everything and then making sure that it was shipped either to their home or to a receiving company. I have talked about receiving companies in my video about how designers get paid, where I talk about how a designer will charge you a little bit more than what they're paying for the furniture because that fee is one form of payment for them. If you want to learn more about that, you can head over to that video. I'll put a card or link it as well for you. In general, my experience there, honestly, I don't want to say the most valuable, but definitely the most challenging, because I think all the experiences are equally valuable. Definitely the most challenging and made me learn more about like my own capabilities. I was like, oh, I can push myself to this. Oh, I can do this. Oh, I can implement systems for people. Oh, I can bring someone in, hire new talent, bring in new talent. And it was a lot. I also ordered furniture so much that I learned more nuances in ordering. How you can optimize your ordering if you can get your client to approve as many things at once, then that way you're only paying one shipping charge, versus if you order things at a bunch of different times and you're paying a bunch of shipping charges. And signing up with a vendor, learning who has a minimum order. At some places, you have to make at least a $3,000 order with them for you to even open an account and get the discount. And then some places you don't have to do that. Learning how furniture is super, super back ordered with the pandemic, buying a piece in July, not having it delivered till January, like so much going on. We'd have situations where we presented to the client, they saw the 3D design, they saw the list of furniture, they were like, great, I like it, but they hadn't officially given written word to order everything. So to say they see the design on Monday, they're like, great, I like it. Then I'm in email communication with them. By Thursday, they're like, okay, I've approved it, here's the money to buy everything. So we wait for them to give us payment. By the time I go to buy everything, things have like changed price from Monday to Thursday. Crazy. At that time, I didn't know that prices changed so often for furniture like that. I thought just like, apartments and houses fluctuated that way. Furniture does too. So that was a good nugget to learn for future experiences. Those were the main 4 experiences that I had to continue my self-teachings, learning by doing. And I highly recommend those of you who really want to go into the industry but don't want to go the school route to learn by doing. There is the opportunity to just do online courses as well, because those are more flexible, often more affordable. I do plan on having next week's video be about different online courses that I found that you guys can check out. So make sure you are subscribed so that you get a notification when that video goes live. Now that I've had both experiences, being in school and not being in school, do you need a design degree to become an interior designer? I want to say that everyone I've asked that question to who says yes has gone to school. And everyone who I asked that question to, who tells me no, didn't go to school. So I think I want to say it's never ever bad to have more information. More knowledge is good. Having a full understanding of what you're about to do is great. But just because you have knowledge about something and you're educated about something doesn't mean that you know how to do it. You should know how to do it in theory, but in practice, there are lots of missteps that can happen. And when you're actually practicing and you're making the mistakes in real time, it's so valuable and it's the best teacher that you can possibly have. Do you have to go to school to be an interior designer? My answer for you is it depends on the individual. Some people really, really need the format of school and they're not disciplined enough to create their own format or to put in the work to learn about their design community. And school just kind of gives you all the information. You just have to shift through it and they give it to you in a step-by-step curriculum. But when you're out learning on your own, you have to kind of create your own curriculum. You have to find information, patch it together, see if it's worth your time. And you have to do it on your own. Not everyone is disciplined enough to do that. So some people need school. They need the, A, B, C, 1, 2, 3 structure of it all, test, homework, assignment, grades, field trips, and this and that. And other people are like, I got this. So it depends on you. You have to decide who you are, be honest with yourself. If you're like, I'm not disciplined enough to do it, then go to school. And if you're like, I can do this, I can definitely do this and it'll be cheaper, then don't go to school. Do with that what you will. And that concludes today's video, you guys. It feels so good to get that off my chest and to talk about it. Thank you so much for everyone who supports the channel. I have been a bit of a content funk lately, but I feel like I'm coming out of it, I'm emerging. It feels good to be in front of the camera. I haven't probably sat down and filmed a video in like over a month. So that's good. My last video was my living room makeover, so go check that out. It shows you how I did all of this wall behind me, this lamp, all that stuff. It shows you all that good stuff. And if you guys want to stick around for next week's video, make sure you're subscribed so you get notifications, because next week I'm going to talk about online courses that you can take to learn about interior design. There's going to be some online courses for my international folks too, because I think almost like 50% of my audience is overseas. So thanks guys for all of you who are everywhere over the world, scattered. And like I like to say at the end of all of my videos, Beyonce said, if you like it, put a ring on it. I say, if you like it, subscribe. Just hit me with the subscription. This is my subscription. Okay, or comment a ring emoji if you made it all the way towards the end. Down in the comments, please, please, please give me a ring emoji. You guys are the best. Thank you again for all your support, and watch some more videos. Or are they over here? I honestly don't know where they are. I think they're over here. I think. Whatever. If you're on a phone, a tablet, or whatever, get to watch it.